Our top focus on World DNA. An unclaimed missile strike caused a fire on board a merchant ship in the Indian Ocean. The vessel is reportedly affiliated to Israel. And now, as per the latest, US's Pentagon has said that an Iranian drone attack struck the chemical tanker. The Indian Coast Guard has dispatched a warship for immediate assistance. The Pentagon spokesperson said, and I'm quoting here, the vessel Chem Pluto, a Liberia-flagged, Japanese-owned and Netherlands-operated chemical tanker, was struck at approximately 10 a.m. local time in the Indian Ocean. It was 200 nautical miles from the coast of India. This was a one-way attack drone fired from Iran. Well, here is the trajectory of the ship MV Chem Pluto. It started its journey from the Jebel port in Saudi Arabia. The destination was the Mangalore port in the South Indian state of Karnataka. And here is the exact point of attack. The ship was struck by the suspected missile near Gujarat, that is the western coast of India. In response to the drone attack, the Indian Coast Guard has deployed India's Coast Guard ship Vikram. ICGS Vikram is currently directed towards the merchant ship in distress. All of the crew, including 20 Indians on the hit vessel, are reportedly to be safe. Well, an Indian naval aircraft was also immediately sent to assess the situation as well as the safety of the ship and its crew. The Coast Guard has also alerted all ships in the area to provide assistance. And for more on this, we are now being joined by maritime security expert Dr. Aralby, live from Baltimore, Maryland in the US. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Right. Now, this clearly seems like an escalation of the Red Sea crisis. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack, but the Pentagon in the latest has released a statement accusing Iran of attacking the tanker. Meanwhile, Iran has rejected all U.S. allegations of its involvement in planning attacks on commercial vessels. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, Iran has a long history of attacking commercial vessels. They've been doing this quite effectively and prolifically since 2019. And so this is consistent with Iranian behavior. However, it is too soon for me independently or any other independent source to confirm where this drone originated or where the attack was initially launched. But it does seem consistent with Iranian activity. And certainly there does seem to be pretty critical evidence indicating Iran's involvement in the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea over the last few days and weeks.
Right, Dr. Aralby, like you mentioned, that the Houthis have attacked various commercial ships in the Mandab El Strait in the Red Sea, attacking the commercial vessels there. Can one draw any link to the attacks on the Red Sea by the Houthis and the latest incident that we just witnessed?
As I say, it's too soon to say for sure, but it does seem that this is a spillover of what has been an assault on international maritime commerce. What started as a Houthi show of support for Gaza has really quickly turned to being a much more aggressive attack on the global economy. What we are now seeing is potentially an even broader assault on that economy, and we now need to be prepared for attacks to occur well beyond the geographic limits of Yemen.
Also talk to us about the exact location of the attack. The MV Chem Pluto was struck very closely to the Indian coastline and not the Bab el-Mandab Strait where the attacks on the vessels have been taking place.
Yeah, actually, it's not too close to the Indian coastline. It is about 200 nautical miles offshore. So it's actually quite a far out attack in terms of just the distance from the coast. We are likely not to see the vessel actually arrive into Mumbai until Monday, and so this is a good ways out. But it is right on the outer extremes of the Indian exclusive economic zone. That means it is quite far afield from Yemen and even farther afield from Houthi-controlled Yemen. Obviously, between this vessel and Yemeni waters, we still have those we have the wider Arabian Sea and those of Oman. So this is a very far afield attack for the Yemenis. But we are much closer to Iran. Obviously, we have Pakistan in between, but that is still quite a distance. And so this attack is a bit of an anomaly compared to the others, all of which have been concentrated right near the Yemeni coast in Houthi-controlled areas. So this is quite, as you said before, escalation of the overall situation, at least insofar as the geography is concerned.
Dr. Aralby, the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations has said that it is an unscrewed aerial system. What does that mean? Shed some light on that, please.
So this is not a missile per se, but it is an unmanned aerial system, which means that there is it functions a bit like a plane. It is a flying drone that is able to navigate, but it is armed with a light warhead, if reports are correct. Much like the Shahed 136 drones that we have seen coming out of Iran over the last few years, and which have been supplied by Iran to Russia in the fight in Ukraine. And so this sort of kamikaze drone, which is designed in order to be able to explode on impact with a hard surface, in this case a ship, is seemingly consistent with Iranian technology. That said, we've not seen forensics on it yet, and I do not have any independent way of confirming that. But the unmanned aerial system is fundamentally different than a missile, which is launched directly from shore or from a ship, and will only go in one direction, whereas this is more navigable. And so the question remains as to whether there were any assets that were involved out on the water nearer to this ship that were in any way helping to position the targeting of that drone. But as I say, without any further insight on the technology being used, it's hard to say exactly how it was operating.
Dr. Aralby, do we have any information about the nature of the equipment that was used? Was it a drone or a missile?
It was, from all accounts, it was a drone. And so this is likely just a light warhead on the drone in order to be able to create more of an explosion on impact, which is consistent with what happened. As you noted, the 20 Indian crew on board the Chem Pluto were all alive and accounted for at last notice. And it seems that they were able to use the firefighting equipment on board the vessel in order to put it out. This vessel was carrying crude oil, so this presents a very critical threat to the marine environment had this actually caused a rupture of the hull of the vessel. But we are seemingly fortunate in that it did minimal damage in terms of what its overall potential could have been. Had it been a missile, we would have more likely seen a more extensive damage to the vessel.
My last question to you, Dr. Aralby. What kind of implication will the latest attack have on the global shipping route, more so on the vessels coming towards India?
Every shipping line in the world is right now considering how these attacks are going to impact their operations, and it's having dramatic effect. Over the next few weeks, we're likely to see an increase in the price of everything, from food to fuel to basic goods, because the flow of maritime commerce is being disrupted, and the risk calculus for how to assess whether it is safe to send seafarers into certain areas is being affected. While this was contained previously in Houthi-controlled Yemen waters, it was possible to circumnavigate the continent of Africa and avoid being involved in any kind of firefight through the Red Sea. With this attack, we now have a new set of new calculations that have to be done in order to figure out what is safe. And as I said, 200 nautical miles offshore, in effectively the middle of the Arabian Sea, is a very big geographic expanse to now account for. And so we're going to have to redefine how we approach securing global commerce in order to try to make sure that it is safe for vessels to continue to float. This is a job for the navies of the world, and I know the Indian Navy is thinking very quickly as to how it can be involved in helping to support the continued flow of international maritime commerce, because we all rely on it everywhere on Earth, and we need it to flow rather rapidly.
Just adding another point to the statement you made there, that the ships are now rerouting around the southern tip of Africa, a longer route adding 10 to 12 days of travel. But thanks very much, Dr. Aralby, for joining us on WION and sharing the insights with us on this story.
Thank you so much for having me.